Yeah. It's Saturday morning here in Brisbane. What time is it where you are? You're in Miami?
I'm in Miami and it's like 6 o'clock on Friday evening.
Oh, party time. We're quick.
Yes. If only I was a partier.
Oh, yeah, same. I was listening to music and just about falling asleep this time at that time last night, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
So,
does.
Zapheria, it's so good to have you here. And I've tried to have you on before, and we tried to do that thing a couple of weekends ago, and it didn't work out because of all the phone stuff. But I'm really glad to finally have you here. And rather than me introduce you with the words that you've given me, I'd rather you introduce yourself to the group. Would that be
Yeah,
okay?
sure. Absolutely. It's funny, like always
Beautiful.
when it's introducing myself, I'm like, which part? Because there's so much to introduce. But my name is Zapheria, and I've been working with women really in like kind of transformation spaces for the last 12 years. Before that, I was
Mm.
in the corporate space, so corporate event space. And I really spent like probably 9 years working, or 10 years actually, working with womb work and emotional clearing. That was my main focus. And over the last year and a half to 2 years since exploring my own menopause journey, I pivoted. And so right now, my focus is as a menopause advocate, is kind of what I call myself, I guess. So, menopause advocate, and I'm also the founder of a brand new global women's movement called LUMEN. But I feel like the most important thing is that I do everything I do from having an experience of something, and I tend to alchemize the life experience that I have and then turn it into something for other women. And really, my biggest driver is like how to support women in moving through not only transitions, but just this life that we're all trying to figure out together. I feel like we're all walking each other home. So I'm also a little bit
Mm.
of a guide and a support for other women in finding our way through life and finding our way home together.
Yeah, so beautiful. And I remember when I first came across you, and I think at the time you were living in Byron, which would have been around the 2014 time. And we've
Yeah.
kind of crossed paths a few times since then. And I've signed up for a few of your free things. And I think I bought your yes thing, which I haven't had a
Yep.
chance to do yet. But oh my gosh, I don't know where the time goes. I need a
Exactly.
lot of me time too, so I tend to do all my heavy stuff in the morning and fun stuff in the afternoon. But back to you. So, when I first came across you, you were in Byron, and then you moved to Bali, and now you're in Miami. So, tell me a bit about that journey.
Yeah, I tend to move I don't mean to, I tend to have this 5 year cycle, and it tends to be places that are very humid, which I don't like humidity, so that's a little weird. I'm not sure what's going on there. And it tends to be places that are very transient as well. So the way that tends to happen is like a feeling, I guess, and a knowing of where I'm supposed to go next. Byron Bay for me, I'm from Sydney, but Byron Bay was always my spiritual home and my happy place and where I would go just to get to fully be myself.
Mhm.
And when I was working in corporate events, I had a mild heart attack working on a job and I kept working. I didn't I didn't stop working, and that was a massive wake up call for me.
Yeah.
And my doctor said, "How quickly can you quit your job?" And I was like, "Well, it's my company, so I can close it today." And I packed all my stuff and drove to Byron Bay. I was like, "Well, why can I not live in my happy place?
Yeah.
Like, why am I just going there for a holiday?"
Mm.
It's like, okay. So that's how I ended up moving to Byron Bay. And then I went and lived in mystery school for a little while in New Zealand,
Oh,
left mystery school and went to visit Bali, and then the world closed down. So I was like, okay, I guess I now live in Bali. I lived there for 5 years, and then I came to visit my parents in Miami, thinking I was literally just coming to, again, going for a holiday to Miami, and I fell in love with it. And I was like, well, actually, I fell in love with Miami, but more importantly, I got to that point that I think a lot of us get to, especially in midlife, where I looked around and I realized I am so blessed to have both of my parents still here. and together, and we all get along really, really well. And it was this like this penny that dropped, I guess. And I was like, well, I'll just move to Miami and be with them and spend as much time as I
Oh,
can with them.
that's
It's
so
been really
beautiful.
nice. Mm,
I didn't know
yeah.
the part about you going to New Zealand to the mystery school. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So first of all, I went and did a 6 week training in the mystery school. Then I enjoyed it. So I went back and I supported. And then I really enjoyed supporting. And I was asked to be an assistant teacher. And then I was offered to live there for a period of time. So yeah, it was like living in this little kind of this little caravan on this massive big property in New Zealand. And yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I live in a mystery school. I don't know. It's like it's the weirdest thing to be like, if you had have said to me, like plan your life and hey, one day you're going to live in a mystery school, I would have said you're crazy. Why would I do that? But I don't know. I feel like I arrived there and everything. Again, it was one of those. It's literally, I feel like I follow my womb, if I'm totally honest. And I feel like I feel in my body where I'm supposed to go. And yeah, when I was on
Mhm.
that land in New Zealand, it was beyond for me just like living in a mystery school. I feel like I had a relationship with the actual land that I was living on. And I felt like my womb and my whole body were really just communicating with her. And so therefore it was a place for me to kind of anchor and call home for a little while.
Wow.
It's
And so,
unusual.
being a Kiwi girl, now I'm curious about where this mystery school is. Is it a
Um,
mystery?
it's it is a bit of a mystery, but I'm trying to think of the place right now off the top of my head. And any time I've ever told a Kiwi where it was, they're like, "You went where? Like, why would you want to live there? That is like
Really?
a terrible part of New Zealand. It's all like, um, it's kind of like farms and cows and
Yeah.
yeah, totally. It's not coming to me off the top of my head. Maybe it's supposed to stay a mystery.
So South Auckland somewhere is that was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, so it was like a few hours drive from Auckland. I wonder if
Okay.
it started with a P.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's not a.
Palmerston North. Palmerston
Oh,
North.
that's not far from where I grew up in Wanganui.
There you go.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, wow, Palmerston North. Yeah, the first thing I think of when I think of that is like army barracks, um, not really mystery school type. Wow, that's amazing that you would
Exactly.
be drawn to. Yeah, wow. Anyway, let's go back to the womb stuff. I'd like to know some more about that. Wendy has
Yeah.
just joined the call, and we were talking yesterday about how both of us have had hysterectomies since about 10 years ago.
Mm.
Initially, she said to me, "Oh, I don't have a womb. I don't know what I might gain." And I'm like, "Yeah, same here. But I want to know more about what Zapheria does because even though we still don't have the womb, we still have that imprint there. We still
Hmm.
have. I still have my ovaries, so I'm still, so I'd like to know some what thoughts are coming to you
Yeah.
as you hear me talk about that."
First of all, I love hearing that you still have your ovaries. That to me shows that your surgeon really cared
Mm,
about you and your body and your physical health, unless they have to be removed. It always saddens me when women say they were removed when they didn't have to be.
yeah.
So I love hearing that. Just for your health benefits is the reason why. But yeah, so for me, having a physical womb or not having a physical womb doesn't change the energetic aspect.
Mm,
Actually, one of my womb alchemy practitioners has also had a hysterectomy, and she is one of my favorite practitioners. She has a very, very deep connection to her energetic
mm,
womb. It's the same as, probably sounds a little bit brutal, but when you hear like people who've lost a limb and they say they can still feel it,
yeah.
it's the same thing. It's like, okay, so the physical part was removed, but the energetic still remains there. And for me, when I'm talking about womb work, I'm talking about the energetic aspect of the womb anyway, more
Mm,
so than the physical. And everybody has the energetic womb. Not everybody has it activated though. So
right.
it could be just kind of there because it's part of your energetic etheric body. Or if you work with it, you can activate it, and it is quite a different felt sense. She has her own frequency, her own vibration, and that's the part for me that I'm interested in when it comes to womb work. Because if we activate the energetic aspect of the womb and we work with that, we can use that frequency to magnetize what we want to bring into life. And when I say birth, I obviously don't necessarily mean that we're birthing children. Like, we're birthing, women's bodies are made to simply birth. And that might be that I'm birthing a project, or I'm birthing an art piece, or I'm, using my womb to just create my life, to consciously create my life. So I feel like whether you have the physical womb or you don't, womb work is seriously, like, it completely and utterly changed my life doing womb work.
Mm.
Like, there's literally like
Yeah,
before womb work and after womb work.
it's interesting that you say some people have not activated. I think that was the case with me. And the reason I had my hysterectomy was because I'd had all my life, every period, really bad pains. And then as I got older, I got the fibroids and the clotting and the
Mm.
worst pain. And I lost a job over it one time because I couldn't go
Oh.
to work for a few days. And what was I going to ask there? Oh, about creation. And
Mm.
so one of the issues that I've had is creating a decent amount of money to live on. And that's why I sort of
Hmm.
think, well, somehow my womb was trying to get activated by all this pain, trying to get my attention. And I'm like, no, fuck off, go away, I hate you. And then in the end, I have it cut out. And so, oh my God, I feel terrible now.
It's interesting though. I mean, maybe that was the path that needed to happen for you to even begin to be aware of your womb. Like, yes, was to give you the pain and was to give you all of the issues. And then also perhaps like needing to have it removed was a bit of it can be a spiritual wake up as well. This realization of like, oh, I actually needed to give up this physical part of my body in this weird way brings you closer to it and brings more awareness. So
Hmm.
maybe it had to happen on your path.
Yeah, although I didn't feel that at the time, I felt like, oh my God, I'm so relieved. I never have to have a period ever again.
Mm.
But then I put on all this weight. And so we wanted to talk about that with you as well, the whole menopause
Yes.
thing and putting weight and inflammation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we can
We've got
definitely
so little
go.
time, so there's so much to talk to you about.
There is, there is. We can definitely go down the inflammation path. We can start there, or we can keep talking womb, whatever kind of feels
What
right
do
in your
you
body
feel
in
like
this moment.
doing? I'm open.
Okay. I feel like I'm going to share with you one story about the womb, and then I feel like it might shift. Actually, it probably will shift us quite well into menopause
Mhm.
conversations anyway. For me, when we're deeply connected to your womb, that the energetic aspect of your womb, she can magnetize into your life. So she can magnetize people, experiences, wealth, contacts. She can really call in everything, like the right people, the soul aligned clients, the soul aligned partners. She can magnetize that in. But she can also really direct you on how to move in your life. So we can have intuition, as in like connection to spirit, source, guides. We can also have, for some people, there's like heart, feeling heart led and heart centered. Some people will say they feel something in their gut, like that
Mhm.
gut feeling. Sometimes, yes, it's a gut feeling, and sometimes they're actually connected to their womb. It depends on the person. But a gut feeling, I don't always trust, because a gut feeling is entwined with your emotions. So your
Mhm.
gut holds so much of your emotion. So your
Yeah.
gut could be giving you information of like, don't go there, like that'd be a bad place to go, when really maybe it was the right place and it was your emotions pulling you in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But the womb will lead and literally move your body to where you need to go.
I
So
felt
I
that.
was, yeah, and
I
it's
felt
it's a
that.
very different, it's almost like a magnet kind of connecting into the earth womb, and it literally directs you on like go this
Yeah.
way, go that way. Um, so when I was in Bali, I had gone there for a holiday, and I actually was also supposed to be running a retreat, but I had gone there for a holiday, and the world was starting to shut down. And
Mm.
we had this message. My partner at the time was a Kiwi, and obviously I'm from Australia. And we had this news that the last flight that non-Australian citizens could go on to Australia was leaving within hours. And he came to me and he's like, "It's this. If we're going back to Australia, if the decision is to go to Australia, we've got like I have to leave now." He's like, I can't even pack a bag. I just have to grab my phone and my passport and my wallet, and I'm out of here. And you need to pack up. And Australians can still fly for the next few days." And he's like, "What do I do?" I remember it so clearly. I was literally standing on the second step, and I turned around and looked at him. I put my hands over my womb, and I was like, "Show me, like, tell me what to do." And my womb was like, "Going to Australia is death. Do not, do not go to Australia." And I said to him, "Well, my womb tells me I'm not going. I'm staying. Like, I can't tell you what to do, but you need to decide what you're going to do." We were meant to fly into Melbourne. So we would have been in like the most extreme lockdown experience. We would have had no jobs, no support, nothing. And
Yeah.
instead, we stayed in Bali and lived this very beautiful, lush, joyful, well-connected life. I could still work online. We were like, there was abundance. We had staff. We were supporting like other local communities with the money we were earning. I was like, that was all
Amazing.
because I listened to my womb.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, I feel like there's this. And it takes away the need for like, I don't know about you, but I get stuck in my head. Should I do this? Should I do that? Oh my God, I don't know. Analysis paralysis. It takes that away when you can just go, oh, what is, where's she saying to go? She says stay in Bali. Okay, I'm staying in Bali.
That's so
Like,
cool. Yeah. I felt that pull just before I moved to Australia. I'd met someone online and we'd been in contact for about a year. And he wanted me to move to Australia. And I thought, I'm going to go and try somewhere else to see how I go without my friends and family around. So I moved from Hamilton in the North Island down to Wellington. And yeah, I had that same feeling of being pulled there or pushed there. We were only there for 6 months and then we moved to Australia. But yeah, I totally get the way that you explained that. And I love that story about Bali.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm so deeply grateful. So grateful that's where we stayed. What an amazing life I had there. Like,
Tell
anyway,
me a little bit
again, it's
about that.
another, sorry.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Bali for me, well, Bali for me was a mixture of incredible and lush and island life. The island was quiet. Everybody else left. Everybody
Mm,
else was freaking out. Like there were all these people saying, you can't stay, it's going to be dangerous, you're going to get locked up. And it wasn't dangerous. It was the most beautiful place to stay on a very quiet island. And I had some friends who had also stayed. So I had like community. Um, and I don't know, I just feel like Bali gave me more than I took, if that makes sense. There was this real nourishment that she has, this very, very deep mother energy that she has, I feel
mm,
like nourished me in a time when in reflection I needed it the most. I didn't know I was in perimenopause when I was there. I had no idea. So at the same time as arriving there, I started getting hot flushes, but I didn't know what they were. I just was like, man, this place is so hot. And I'm saying to everybody, are you hot? And they're like, yeah, I'm hot. And I was thinking, oh, like island life must kind of cook you from the inside out. Like it's a different kind of heat. And my upper lip was sweating and my eyebrows were sweating. And I was like, what on earth is happening? Now I know, obviously, it was hot flushes. At the time, I didn't know. I also put on an insane amount of weight, which is kind of one of the things that we'll talk about. I put on all this weight and I was like, maybe it's something in the island food, like maybe it's the seed oils or something here that's making me put on all this weight because I'm eating like Bali is just like fruits and these amazing salads and like this healthiest food, and I'm just piling on the weight. And so I was thinking it must be seed oils, still didn't click that I was in perimenopause, and that's why I had all this inflammation in my body. And I thought, oh, it's just the humidity. That's why I'm like all swollen and my joints hurt so much is the humidity. I'm like, oh, this is all perimenopause symptoms that I had no idea. So I feel like Bali was simultaneously this beautiful and really deeply challenging time for me. A lot of things happened. A lot of
Mm.
things happened, but I think the weight was probably the most confronting. And I love that now. Like I just dressed in caftans, right? And like how beautiful is it that we have caftans and flowy outfits and I feel so feminine. Back in like our Mother's Day, they were called muumuus.
Yeah.
Like thank God they're not called a muumuu. But wearing these beautiful caftans. Anyway, I'm out at dinner. I'll kind of tell you like the weight story because I know that was one of the questions, and I feel like what I'm going to share is incredibly controversial and personal, but I'm going to share it anyway because open book here. Um, I was at dinner one night in Bali, and the I went to order a glass of wine, and the waitress pointed at my belly and said, "Baby, no wine, baby." And I was like, No, I'm not pregnant.
Wow.
Can I have a glass of wine?" And she's like, "No, baby, I'm not serving you wine." It's like, what? Anyway, I obviously got pretty depressed after that because I thought my caftans aren't working. I look like I'm pregnant. I literally looked like I was 9 months pregnant. And I still didn't know I was in perimenopause, still didn't know what the weight gain was about. And this is so controversial for someone who's done embodiment and womb work for a decade, but I went and had liposuction because I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying everything. I don't hardly eat anything. I'm moving my body. Like this is just getting worse and worse. I'm depressed after this lady telling me I'm pregnant. I'll go and have liposuction, spent all this money in a hospital on an island that's not great hospitals, all this time to recover, lost 1 centimeter because I didn't know that subcutaneous fat and visceral fat are two different things. And
Mm.
the fat that you can squeeze, subcutaneous fat, that's what liposuction can do. It cannot touch visceral fat. So I feel like here I am on this island, obviously without any great doctors around, and I'm having all of these obvious perimenopause symptoms and nobody to just say to me, they're hot flushes, that's inflammation, the weight gain is visceral fat, and this is the reason why. And it's probably part of why I've become so driven to support other women in understanding now because of I don't want other women to have that experience,
Mm.
I guess, that I had.
Yeah,
So,
wow. Thank you for
yeah,
being so vulnerable and sharing, because obviously you've opened yourself up now to judgment and all that kind
yeah.
of stuff. And I know you're strong enough to deal with it, but it still is, it's heart opening.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't share it for years because I really was like, well, everybody's going to judge me for doing that, especially the work that I do. I thought I'd lose clients over it. And now I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about, not
Mm,
only because that's a choice that I made, but I made it from self-loathing. And that's
mm,
to me is the reason. And I made it from an uneducated place. I made it from self-loathing, and I made it from a place of not really like of expecting something different than what the outcome was. And I didn't have connection. I didn't have other women to talk to about it. I didn't have, the wise women or the elders of the community to say to me, honey, don't go and do that.
Yeah.
And this is why don't go and do it. Not because we're judging you and telling you it's bad, but because if you were educated, you would understand that it's not the right choice for where you're at right now in your life. And I've met a lot of women. Actually, to be honest with you, at the same time as I did, I knew three other friends doing exactly the same thing.
Mm.
So I wasn't alone. So I guess one of the reasons I talk about it now is I know that there are a lot of other women hiding that in secret, and I don't want
Yeah.
them to feel like they need to keep it secret or feel ashamed about it.
I'm so glad that you brought up this idea of having a sisterhood. That's something that I've been lacking in, and in times that I've attempted to um, create that kind of a community, I've always found the cattiness and the talking behind other people's backs and talking about partners and all that stuff, and it just turned me right off. And so I had
Yeah.
that was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was I've seen you mention just recently about creating that sisterhood. Is that what the Lumen is about? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm creating a global women's community specifically for midlife women called LUMEN. So
Mm-hmm.
it's liberated, unedited, midlife empowered network. And interestingly, like, yeah, when you say like the communities that you've been part of, there's been like the talking about each other and the judgment. And one of our codes of honor is that we do not talk about each other. We talk to each other, but never about
Oh, I
each
love
other. That's
that.
one of the main codes of honor in there.
Yeah, wow. So how does one get connected to that with you?
Yeah, so it's literally going public in about a week. I'm almost ready to launch it, and it has an online component and it also has in-person events. So here in Miami, I'm doing in-person events, but the online component, we've really intentionally structured it so that it has like a very affordable level and then kind of, working your way up to when women want more. And I've also very intentionally set it so that it's not, nobody's contracted into anything. There's no pressure. It's like lean in as far as you want, leave when you want. Like it's really this space to feel, I want women to feel like it's home. And I
Mm,
want women to feel like, I feel like too, we can, make ourselves feel guilty of like, oh, there were all these calls and I didn't go on the call. So now I'm not part of the community. So I probably just shouldn't show up. And then we hide. And I don't want women to experience that. I want women to have this space that's like, oh, I just show up. And I can show up in my pajamas if I want to, and I can be in bed, or I can show up in a ball gown if I felt like dressing up in a ball gown, because who cares, whatever. I can wear my crown, I can do whatever I want. I
oh,
have this safe
Zapheria, that's
space
so cool.
because, yeah, because I feel like, well, like I just said, that article I posted today is like the loneliness epidemic in midlife women is terrifying.
Yeah.
And between 45 and 65 is the highest suicide rates in women. So it's when we're in the perimenopause,
Mm,
menopause kind of transition. And 49% of women say that they feel lonely. They've got empty nest, children are leaving, that changes their social network. A lot of women are going through separation or divorce at a similar time. They're feeling stressed out at work and they feel like there's not genuine, not just connection. We can all go anywhere. Like I can go down the road and sit at a bar if I want to and go to talk to somebody, but that doesn't nourish my soul.
mm,
It doesn't nourish me. So yeah, I'm driven by this like 1 in 10 women feel suicidal through menopause. 9 in 10 women have mental health changes in menopause. And like we have to do something about this. To me, this just isn't good enough. And we're in a time when we need each other the most, but in a time when we're being pushed away from each other the
mm,
most as well. And I'm hoping that Lumen is my little part of the world to create a solution for a very big problem that I am concerned about, I guess. Very concerned
Yeah,
about.
Wendy and I spoke about that yesterday as well, about the mental health situation. Like both of us have experienced anxiety and depression. I've experienced it so bad that it even started coming with agoraphobia. I couldn't leave the house on my
Mm.
own, and for protracted periods of time. And I think you had a similar situation or a similar experience. Tell us a little bit, if only as much as
Yeah.
you're comfortable
Yeah,
with.
I'm happy to share. I'm such an open book. When I arrived here, so yeah, it kind of alluded a lot of stuff happened in Bali, and probably if I wasn't in my perimenopause phase, I would have handled it differently. But as a result, I lost two businesses. I lost my reputation. I lost my life savings. I lost my home, and I lost my relationship. And I was in menopause. Thanks so much. That's awesome. So
Yikes,
when
that's
I
huge.
arrived, yeah, it was brutal. I was really like, I feel like I just got my ass handed to me on a platter. It's really like, this is what you think your life was. It's not. And I ended up living with my parents in Miami, which was by choice. I could have stayed in Bali, but I wanted to be here. And I couldn't get out of bed. My
Mm-hmm.
energy was completely gone. I was deeply, deeply depressed. And I got to the point where I had to message my closest friend, who is a Kiwi, is in New Zealand, as was my ex. So I seem to have a bit of a thing for Kiwis. Um, she was going through her own difficult time and she was unable to communicate with me. And I messaged her and I said, I need you to know I don't think I'm going to do it, but I am feeling suicidal. All I can think about is I think this is it. Like, I think I'm done. I think I want out of here. And I'm so grateful that I didn't, but it was that deep, dark place that created the five passages of menopause and that shifted my whole trajectory of what I'm doing. So I can now see the why. I, it's not, I'm just trying to think of the word. I don't want to sound like a martyr. It's not like I had to go there so I could create something for other women, but it's like that sense of through me going into the depths, I alchemized it into something that helps other women, which is the five passages of menopause. And at the time, I was in what's the third passage, which is the most confusing passage. And that's when most of the mental health stuff comes in, which is the pause. And it
Mm-hmm.
feels like it's where everything needs to die. It's where the old identity,
Yeah.
unfortunately, has to die.
Tell us a little bit
So,
more about those five phases
mm,
and how you came about
so
birthing.
yeah, it came about because for me, just saying there's perimenopause, there's menopause, and postmenopause, I was like, it doesn't tell me anything. And I am a little neurodiverse, if you haven't already picked that up. And so I knew that once I found out I was in menopause, I went and bought every book you could get. I went on Amazon and I was like, just buy everything. And I sat here in my room, like reading and devouring, like with my highlighter. Like, I don't know what I thought I was going to do, like get it right or something. I'm going to do menopause the best way. I'm going to learn everything there is to learn and it'll make it okay. Highlighting everything and like putting it all, voice noting it into my second brain. And I thought my intention was I thought I'm going to learn all the science of menopause so I can teach other women the science of menopause. But what happened was that didn't fulfill me and nourish me. What did was reflecting back. I was literally on the floor in my bathroom crying and praying and I was like, you've got to show me, like, why is this happening? Why am I here? Give me the answer. Like, what is this all about? And I started to get very clear messages and visions about these five passages. And so the first one is the cracking, and that's what I was in, like at the beginning of Bali, and I didn't know that I was in it. Most women don't know that that's when they're in perimenopause, but they're starting to feel like something just doesn't feel right. I can't put my finger on it. I don't feel like myself, but I'm feeling a little bit agitated and a little bit frustrated, and I'm not really sleeping very well, and I just don't feel right. And usually that's when the progesterone is starting to decline. So we're not really noticing it on a hormonal because we're still cycling and can still be cycling quite regularly. So that's the cracking. And then it comes into the burning, which is when most women figure it out, except for me. But the hot flushes, the inflammation, the like night sweats, the inability to sleep, they're all the symptoms that we get shown nowadays everywhere, on Instagram, anywhere you look. Hot flushes this,
Yeah.
hot flushes that, HRT this, natural this, whatever. That's when women start to really look for an answer. But then the pause, it's not that it's something physical. It's this mental, emotional, spiritual change that's happening. As estrogen is declining, the brain is really starting to have to completely rewire itself. And
Mm.
it's rewiring itself to a new identity. So we're no longer wearing the masks, no longer people pleasing, hence why a lot of relationships fall apart,
Yeah.
no longer putting up with things anymore, hence why a lot of friendships also fall apart. Less fucks to give. We're like, I really don't care anymore what anybody else thinks of me,
Yeah.
but I don't know who I am. So the identity, the old identity is falling away. And that's when a lot of women end up either on antidepressants or
Hmm.
feeling suicidal or feeling deeply, deeply, deeply alone and confused and in this just dark, 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 dark place. But if we can see what it is and we can create some space for it and realize, oh, I'm literally letting go of something that I don't want anyway. I don't want the
Yeah.
masks. I don't want to show up and be freaking everything to everyone and people please everyone anymore. So we can let go of that piece that's going. Then we come to the remembering. And the remembering is finally remembering the true self. Finally remembering like the dreams that you had when you were younger that you wanted to do in your life, or finally remembering I'm pretty freaking awesome actually, or I have these gifts, or I am deeply powerful, or my spiritual connection is so incredible, or like whatever it is, it's coming back to finally seeing the light of who you were always born to be before you started pretending and putting on all the masks and being everything to everyone. And through that remembering, we get the drive and the encouragement and the energy to really step into the rising. And the rising is this place of the full identity, and it's not a new identity, it's the real identity. It's not the who
Yeah.
you think you have to be next. It's like who I really am. You're stepping into that unapologetically. And this is when a lot of women step into some form of leadership. And that might be leadership just in her tiny community or in her home or of herself or of more people. It depends. But that's when historically, when we lived in community together, when we were a little smarter and we all stuck together, that you would go to the woman in the community who was your wise woman, your medicine woman, your crone, your wisdom keeper, because she had gone through the rising and she's now no longer showing up trying to be anything. She doesn't have anything to prove. She just is. And so she has the wisdom to share it with you without it like needing without you needing to do what she wants. She can just simply share that wisdom. And so the rising is the most incredible part. But if we get lost in the pause, it's very difficult to get to the rising. And so for me, it's like I want to support women seeing that the rising is on the other side. That's why you see some women who are postmenopause who are radiant.
Yeah.
They're like radiant. They are bouncing through life. They're shining. They're like got a better sex life than they've ever had in their lives. They've got better friendships. Their like career has taken off. You see women like post 50 creating the best businesses and companies that they've ever had in their life. It's because they hit the rising. That
How
to
did
me is
you
a
get
big
out of
driver.
the pause part? How did you find your way out of that?
It was brutal. It was brutal. Um, so it's interesting, again, like quite controversial for a woman who'd been in the spiritual field for so long. I started to try HRT. I was like, I I got to find, I got to find a way out of here. And it was like night and day that got me through the shift so that I could see that there was something else. And I don't necessarily think that it's the best answer for everyone, but I also feel like I want women to not feel stigmatized and to not feel judged and to not feel like, for me, I was like, oh, I've been in the spiritual community. They say it's bad. I shouldn't do that. I'd better only do the natural choices. That means I'm not spiritual enough. That means I'm not, all the stories. But it got me out of that deep, deep dark hole, and it brought me home to myself
Mm,
so that I could see what was happening. So that then it like kind of catapulted, then
yeah,
it was like a domino effect of like, okay, now I get it. But
yeah. Same with people who take antidepressants. I mean, I've tried
yep.
different ones. None of them worked. I had to go through it white knuckling really through each episode. But yeah, but for some people, it helps them to get them to that stage where they can feel more settled and able to see something other than what's directly in front of them. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we have to try everything that's available to us that feels aligned with ourselves.
yeah.
For me, I'm a big, 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 big advocate of women being educated to advocate for themselves in whatever tools they want to use through midlife and perimenopause and menopause. They should be able to use those without any judgment from
Mm-hmm.
anybody else.
Yeah, I love that. Wow.
Mm.
Um, just want to go back to something you talked about before, the difference between the subcutaneous fat and the what was the other one?
Visceral fat.
Yeah.
Visceral.
How does one
Mm.
reach that visceral fat? How do
Yeah,
they,
it's
is it their eating
tricky.
habits? What is it?
So, subcutaneous fat is the fat you can pinch. Visceral fat actually is wrapped around all of your organs.
Yeah.
And so when estrogen starts to decline, so estrogen has been keeping like your body fat more around the hips or the breasts for most women.
Mm-hmm.
Some not, but for most women, that's kind of typically where it will sit. Because if you're in your childbearing years, that's where it kind of makes sense
Yeah.
for it to sit, right? And so when estrogen starts to decline, it's impacting our insulin sensitivity. So it's impacting how we hold glucose and sugar in our system. And so we start to not be able to metabolize so easily, and therefore we start to hold more, and it will always go into visceral fat. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very, very rare that you will see a woman in perimenopause, menopause who does put on weight. Not everybody does, but who does put on weight or have that. It's not even that it's putting it on, it's the whole body composition changes, which can be even more confronting because like
Yeah.
things just don't like fit right anymore. So it might
Yeah.
not be that there's putting on weight, but it's changing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it will be sitting there on the tummy
Mm-hmm.
usually. And so hence that, like where I got told, are you pregnant? The thing with
So that's
visceral
why
fat,
I'm hearing a lot of,
yeah, go,
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Okay. The
I
thing
just,
with visceral fat, I think we had a delay. The thing with visceral fat is that it's visceral fat creates inflammation, right? So it's basically
mm,
almost like its own organ. Eating less
mm,
creates more stress in the body, which creates higher cortisol. High cortisol creates visceral fat. So eating
right.
less is not the answer.
Yeah.
Exercising more and more cardio exercise, same thing. Puts
Mm,
stress on the system, creates higher cortisol, visceral fat.
it's more this fat. Yeah.
Yeah, so we try what used to work. We try, oh, I better eat less, exercise more, and it doesn't
Mm,
work. It backfires, or it can even make it worse. The best thing to do is to be doing weights, any type of weights, even if it's like a weighted vest or a weighted waistband, or even just having weights like in your house, for two reasons. One is that if you build more muscle, it then increases your metabolism,
Yeah.
and it starts to reverse. So therefore, you actually start to lose the visceral fat, which
Mhm.
can kind of seem weird. You're like, what, you want me to go like build biceps to get rid of my visceral fat? But it does. Um, Also, I mean, I don't know, most probably people know is like sarcopenia. So we're losing masses of our muscle mass
Mhm.
anyway as we hit midlife. We're also losing bone density. So we're heading towards like osteopenia, osteoporosis. Weights is the best thing to do for both of those. Then protein. It's literally, you've just got to eat as much. You have to eat as much protein as you can possibly get in, because the protein also starts to help your body's metabolism and therefore helps with the visceral fat as well. So really it's those two things. And it's why we see, love it or don't, whatever, like I have zero judgment or opinion on it, but it's why we see when women are doing the peptides, the GLP-1 peptides that is specifically working on insulin resistance, it's why we're seeing women have results in that area. And there's pros and cons to that, but that's the reasoning behind it, is as the estrogen drops, it's impacting our insulin resistance, creating the visceral fat. Anything we can do to start to shift the insulin resistance and how we are metabolizing food is going to help way more than, and it's usually eating actually a lot more than what we might think that it's eating. I can't get in enough protein. I struggle to get in the amount. I can't remember exactly what
Yeah. It feels
the
like,
figures are, but it's a lot.
sorry,
Mm.
our timing is out and my internet connection is so bad. It's really difficult for me to keep up sometimes. I don't know if you've been picking that up. But yeah, I've heard of women in this age group who have taken up eating meat only or as just their major um,
Yeah,
form of sustenance and seeing all sorts of not just losing weight but health benefits and lots of other ways as well. And have you had any experience with that yourself?
yeah. So it's interesting, so I was a vegetarian for 35 years. So I was a vegetarian for a very long time. When I hit the very ends of perimenopause, I started dreaming of eating meat. Like I woke up having dreams of picking up chunks of meat and just like getting into that meat. And I was like, this is so strange. I've never, so I mean, I had those dreams 3 nights in a row, and I was like, okay, I'm listening. I went to the butcher and bought a steak, and I came home and I had to Google. It's like, how how do you cook a steak?
Oh.
I've never cooked meat. I don't know what to
Mhm.
do. Um, but my body actually started to really crave carnivore. So I went full carnivore for only for a couple of weeks, and I
Yeah,
noticed that it flipped a switch for me. It's not a lifestyle that I could do long term. And I feel like, again, as with everything, pros and cons, like, you need to look at what kind of works and what doesn't. But there is definitely some value to it for the women who feel it. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. I just had a memory of when I was pregnant with my daughter. I've always, like, we were brought up as meat eaters. My dad worked at the meat works and he was a hunter and fisher and, all that stuff. And so we always had big Sunday roast. And then when I became pregnant with my daughter, um, I didn't have cravings, but I was totally like, I didn't want to eat meat at all. And then when she was 15, she was the first in our family to become vegetarian. And then she went vegan. And my son, the same. He's 12 years younger than her. And then I went the same. I was vegan for a while and then vegetarian again and now back to. So, yeah, that's one. I want to try that carnivore thing too. I haven't gotten around to it yet because I hate cooking. It's not my thing, but it's something that I want to do. And yeah, so this has
Definitely
been an
like
amazing
worth a try.
conversation.
I think the carnivore is definitely worth a try. Another thing that's really actually what like probably need to mention is liver. So also the liver is trying to always release and get rid of like hormones, all the hormones.
Hmm.
But when we come into perimenopause, a lot of women can be showing estrogen dominance, even when their estrogen is actually the extra estrogen production has massively reduced, but they're getting symptoms of estrogen dominance, and that's to do with the liver. And so
Yeah.
doing a liver detox can also make a massive difference on all of the health, but also on the visceral fat as well.
Is there a detox method that you recommend?
Yeah, so I use one called Zen Cleanse, the rainbow, and I discovered this by accident. I was in Bali. I did a 7 day. I do cleanses every year. I did this 7 day rainbow cleanse, and suddenly dropped all this weight, and all of my symptoms went away. And I was like, "What the
Wow.
hell was that?" And so I then went and researched, as I do. Neurodiverse brain was like, "What just happened?" Researched everything and really learnt how important the detox of the liver is. The
Mm.
reason I like that one particularly is it's not like starvation. It's not just juices or like it's really giving you its live enzymes. So it's
Hmm.
giving you live enzymes the whole way through, so you feel nourished the whole way through it. But yeah, that's my favorite. But there's, really anything that is going to be able to give you support in detoxification of the liver is
Yeah.
really, really awesome.
Have you done a detox this year yet?
I haven't. Do you know what I planned to do? It's so funny. Like I have all the like, landing page and the resources and the workbooks and everything set up because I was going to do it as a group and then I haven't done it yet. So I kind of switched to doing Lumen. So I was waiting to do my detox to take a group of women through
Yeah.
like the Zen cleanse together because it aligns with this thing for me of like not doing everything on our own, doing it in community.
Oh, that's amazing. I'd like to join that. When you're ready to go ahead with that, let me know. Yeah, I'd definitely be
Yeah.
into do it. I've never
Yeah, I'm
really done
definitely
a
going to do it
proper
this year.
cleanse. Yeah. Not a
Hmm.
liver cleanse. I've done juice cleanses and stuff, but not a proper liver cleanse. So yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know when we do it.
So, wow, so much information. I've learned a lot. Thank you. And
That's my pleasure.
is there anything else that you'd like to add before we close the session?
I feel like, I feel like I've spoken a lot. See, it's a topic that once you get me going, you can't shut me up. I'm like, okay, I'm off. Um, I think for me, like the most important thing that I would love women in midlife to realize is that we've been programmed and conditioned to believe that midlife is a decline. And it's really not.
Mm,
Like everywhere we go, we're sold, try all the Botox and the skincare and the whatever, because you're supposed to look younger, or do all these things that we're told that we should be doing. And it's all this subtly telling us that being midlife is a problem and that it's
mm,
not okay and that it's a problem that you have to solve. And I really strongly believe that midlife is about reclamation. It's not about decline. It's about really putting your sword in the sand and being like, this is who I am. This is how I look. And do what you want with it. If you want to go get Botox and a facelift and a whatever, amazing, go do it. But do it because you're doing it for yourself, not because you believe that you need to look a certain way. But how can you just claim who you are and claim that it's what a freaking gift to be in our midlife? Like, what an amazing gift. Not everybody gets to get here. Not everybody gets to this point in their life where
yeah,
they've experienced so much wisdom. And to me, second half, best half. Absolutely. Like let's
yeah.
do it. And that to me is the biggest message. That and find your people. Don't do it alone.
Yeah, that brings to mind back that statistic that you talked about earlier about suicide in women in those years between 45 and was it 65? How many
Yeah.
of those women could be saved if they had an opportunity to be a part of the community like
Yeah.
Lumen? So that
Yeah,
really,
so many.
yeah, that really touches my heart and something that I
Mm.
would like to spread the word on.
Mm.
And yes, let's have you back again in
I'd
future.
love
And
to.
does Wendy have any questions? Do you have any questions, Wendy?
Can you hear me?
Hmm.
Good. No, I just want to sort of reaffirm that I am so glad I've joined the group because it's normalized how I feel, and I am feeling more empowered than ever to accept those things that I love and those roots that I've always had, um, and validating them. So I feel a lot more validated just being here and listening to your both talk. Um, and but no, I don't really have any questions because really you've just opened up a new. I love that sisterhood style that you've. We just need to support one another. We need, and I've been lacking that all through my life. I've thought that I was more comfortable in male, being surrounded by males, but in fact, it's not true, and that's why I've been so deprived with that sisterhood support and that familiarity and normalization. So, um, you know, Jacqueline, I just can't let you're just such a valuable friend, and everything that you're introducing to me, I'm open to, and thank you for having me.
Mm.
That's all I've got to
Oh,
So
say.
beautiful. Mm.
you're most welcome in the community, and I'm just as happy to have you there as you are, to have me in your life. I'm just as happy to have you in my life.
Yeah, I'm
And you too,
tearing up.
Zapheria. Beautiful.
That's so beautiful. How incredibly special, Jacqueline, to know that like what you're, because I know you've been doing this for a while, and I know I'm in the group, and I never kind of, I find I'm just, got so much on that I don't get in there. But what a beautiful like reflection for you to really know that like what you're doing and the hard work that you're doing is being really recognized and noticed and being felt and making a difference. So it's really
Mm.
Yeah,
special.
that's
I
very.
feel grateful that you've invited me to be part of it. So thank you.
Oh. Wow. Okay, so there's 4 minutes to go. Is there anything that you want to share, Zapheria, before we take off for the day and let
No,
you
I
go off
think
to dinner plans?
I might share with you a link that you can like put with a replay
Beautiful,
for a free podcast that I have, the
beautiful.
Pause private podcast. So yeah, any of the women who kind of just want to, I feel like sometimes it's nice also to like rehear things or reconnect into a voice where you've heard things. So I'd love to share that with your community.
Yeah, pop it in the chat, and I will click on it and share it with the group.
Amazing. I'll send it to you on where are we talking? On the Facebook chat thing. I'll send it to you on there after the call.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, no
Yeah,
worries.
it's easier.
Ah,
Awesome.
all right. Well, before we started this call, I was very all over the place when we spoke before the call start before the recording started, and I'm still feeling a little bit that way, but it's more of excitement now after hearing what you've had to share, and I feel more grounded at the same time. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just kind of where I am at the moment, and so grateful to you
Amazing.
both for
Yay.
coming.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, ladies.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you very much for having me
All
too.
right. Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.